On today's episode of the WNP podcast, what would you do if you were on the clock? Stay tuned. Episode 142 of the We're Not Professionals podcast. I'm your host, Mike Mitchelson, and joining me as always, my co-host, Chase Crawshaw. Chase, how you doing?
I'm doing swell. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. We got a little different setup here.
We do.
A little different angle with the cameras and everything.
We do.
The table's actually longer. I don't know if you noticed that. We had to put the leaf in, so...
Are you going to leaf it in?
Yeah, I am, I think. And if you couldn't tell, this is just a dining room table because that's how we roll over here. We're not professionals. So, but Chase, we do have two special guests today.
I would just call them like guests. I don't know if they're anything special or not.
Gotcha. One, the people I've seen quite often. Not recently because he's afraid of prospects, but Graham Weaver. Graham, how you doing?
Oh, I'm so excited for this episode. And you're right. I hate prospects.
So it's going to be a good one for you doing a mock draft here. And then joining us as well, one of the founding members of the We're Not Professionals podcast. He was on, the first 7 shows, I think?
Something like that.
That being John Ream. John, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
And I may not hold a candle to George, but I will try to fill his shoes today.
Good. I'm glad. George, of course, not joining us. I actually threw him out of the studio today.
Yeah, I am.
He usually sits and watches. It's kind of rude to do that.
Yeah, it was a little crowded with the new table set up.
He could have operated the camera.
I guess, but he likes to get into some trouble, so I didn't want him knocking it over.
George.
Yeah. So, like I said, on today's episode, we are doing a mock draft. It's going to be a lot of fun. How this is going to work is we're doing what we would do if we were the GM, but kind of in a more realistic role as well. Like, we're not going to go out and, for example, Chase's number 1 player on his board is Carson Strong. He's not going to take him with the Jags pick. So, we're going to...
Well,
wait. How would you know?
Yet.
Okay.
You don't know
that's fair.
Did you see that season last year that Trevor Lawrence had? 12 touchdowns, 17 interceptions? Yikes.
Yeah, it's pretty
He's
terrible.
done.
So a little bit more realistic, but also what we would do. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And what we did is instead of just doing like 1, 2, 3, 4 and like just splitting it, we did teams. So at times you'll see people picking 2, maybe 7 times in a row, if that's how many picks the certain teams have. And then sometimes you'll see a player or a person go like 8 picks without a pick. So
no one picks more than twice in a row, and I do it once and Graham does it once.
Or 7.
That's
Depends. Are we getting into compensatory picks in like the 4th round and stuff?
Oh, yeah. I forgot we're doing a full 7-round mock. I forgot about that.
So
The show's going to be long.
strap in. Only a first round mock draft here, but I think we can get it on the way here. So starting off, we've got the Jags.
Do I get 10 minutes on the clock?
You do not get 10 minutes on the clock.
Okay.
Go ahead. Let me know what you're picking here with the Jags. One sec. Let me start draft so I can keep track. But you're the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know there's a lot of things you could get, including running back again. So what are you thinking?
If you're in the Google Doc where we are keeping track of this together, I know
I'm
you're not because you're not one of the boys, but you can see that I was already typing in Aiden Hutchinson, edge rusher out of Michigan.
Did you
put that top overall selection?
Did you send a new Google Doc?
I sent it out. I don't know, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I can see that you typed that in.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna share you do it right now, even though I know you're shared on it.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, you're literally right there. But I will add you again.
Let me actually just go to my what's it called?
I know. I just sent you another one in your email. So anyway, if you remember from
this
last
is going
season,
swimmingly, I have to say.
You were literally already on there, so I don't know. You must have just lost it in your email. But anyway, Aiden Hutchinson, edge rusher out of Michigan, first overall pick, my top player on my draft board. There's a couple ways you could go with this. I really was thinking offensive line as well with the Jags because I think that is a bit more of a pressing need. But at the end of the day, you're only really getting edge value in the first round in the NFL nowadays. So if you can get this kind of talent, it's kind of hard to pass on it.
Also, we talked about it in the Twitter group chat a little bit, or at least I did. I'm curious to know, Johnny and Graham, your guys' opinions. I put out there that I think it's kind of ridiculous that some people are saying if it's not Aiden Hutchinson, it's a thrown away pick. I don't think he's that far and above some of these other players. What are you guys' opinion on that? Is it Aiden Hutchinson, like he's locked no matter what, or are we thinking there could be reasonable other options?
No, I don't think Aiden Hutchinson is by far and away the best prospect in this draft. I don't even think that he is the best prospect in this draft. I think that if they take, I'm not giving you a hint on what I'm taking next pick, but easily they could take one of the offensive tackles and be more than happy with that.
Yeah, I think when you look at Hutchinson as the whole package, from the head, how he thinks and how he plays, and his work ethic down to his skills, I think he is the best player in this draft for me by a good amount. But I don't think it's a thrown away pick by any means. Like Trayvon Walker has a lot of, he has a crazy athleticism, and then the tackles, both Icky and Evan Neal, are really good. So it's not thrown away. But if they didn't go Hutchinson, I would be disappointed if I was a Jags fan. But
there's 2 picks to make here. There's 2 players. I guess if you really want to say between both offensive tackles, I guess you can say 3, but really I don't think there should be the one. I think it should just be Aiden Hutchinson and Ike Mekwanu. If they choose anybody else as a Jags fan, you should have the right to burn down the city.
I disagree.
They've had a right to do that for a while. So
yeah, I mean, like if they went out and got Kayvon Thibodeau because they like his ceiling, then I'm okay with it. Aiden Hutchinson definitely going to be a guy you can plug in immediately. But he doesn't have the ceiling that Kayvon Thibodeau does.
They need something safer.
Maybe.
They really do. Because Balky's about to get the can. If he messes up another draft, if he messes up a 7th round pick, he's going to get the can.
I don't know.
He can't afford to mess up.
He just made a big deal for Christian Kirk, and that's one of the best wide receivers in the league.
He's so bad at his job.
All right. Well, you talk about safe pick. This is a pick that Detroit absolutely needs to hit on. Graham, we've got you up with the number 2 overall pick.
Yes, they do need to hit on it. Obviously, I think that they've got to go edge here, and I think that their number 1 player on the board is Aiden Hutchinson. So in this scenario where most likely Aiden Hutchinson goes first overall, the Lions are going to have to choose between these next 2 guys, in my opinion, and I think in the consensus opinion, which is Kayvon Thibodeau and Trayvon Walker. If you've been following me on Twitter, you might have a clue on where I go here. If I'm the Lions, I go Trayvon Walker here out of Georgia, because I think that Kayvon Thibodeau is very, very good, and I think that he is a better pure edge. But I think that the Lions themselves would rather have a little bit more versatility. Trayvon Walker, he's not as good as Kayvon Thibodeau in pure pass rush. He could he's very reliant on bull rush and just using his strength to blow through the tackle. But I think it's easier to teach an edge how to, incorporate a couple different more pass rush moves than to teach someone how to be versatile. And Trayvon Walker, though he didn't have a ton of production at Georgia, that was because he played at every spot on the defensive line. And I think that the Lions will value that very highly. So I think that they go Trayvon Walker here.
I would much rather go the significantly better edge rusher who is maybe a slightly less better athlete who has shown significantly more production at the college level at the 2nd overall pick.
I think that Trayvon Walker has the highest ceiling out of the 3 edges.
I would agree.
I would actually not agree because I'm not a big believer in Trayvon Walker.
The versatility of Trayvon Walker, the athleticism, the size, everything there shows he's got a high-end ceiling. I think out of the 3 players, though, he does have the lowest floor. So
I agree.
I'd be curious to see what Dan Campbell and the group over there can do with Trayvon Walker. And you said they got to go edge. I've been hearing a lot of stuff recently. I know you're not going to like it, but when the real draft comes along, I've been hearing Lions fans, just be ready for Malik Willis.
I've heard a lot of that too. I really, really don't see it happening. I really don't. From all of the rhetoric that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have been, putting out, I just really, really don't see that happening.
As long as it's not, if they're taking quarterback, as long as it's not any of the other quarterbacks than Malik Willis, I will get over it eventually. But if they take like Kenny Pickett for some reason, or I will have an actual meltdown in my house. You will see this.
Is it just because his hands are the same size as mine?
Yes.
Is that the only reason?
It's the only reason.
Okay.
Yeah, the Lions going Malik Willis would make me excited as a Lions fan.
Heck yeah.
I
be cool.
think the better pick and the best pick would have been Thibodeau, and Trayvon Walker is also great. But I think the Lions have a really good system to all those concerns about Kayvon and like maybe his work ethic, which I don't even think are true. But if they are, I think the Lions have a great system to make that all go away. Where if the Jags had taken him, I don't know if their locker room presence is good enough to rein him in if he's not really into it.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
All right, that puts me up at 3 with the Houston Texans. And this is a team where I can go a couple different spots. I could look at the top of the offensive line class. Kayvon Thibodeau still sits there. Maybe they want to go a Kyle Hamilton. Maybe they're a big fan of the safety. Well, I'm the GM, and I'm not. So
I know where you're going here.
I am going to go the second most important position in football. I'm going Kayvon Thibodeau at number 3. Look, I would have loved to go Ike Ekwonu. I absolutely love him, and I think that they could use, whether it be an offensive tackle and push their current right tackle into guard, or if you just want to play Ike at guard, it could work out well. But they can go and get a Daniel Falele or a Zach Tom at 33. You can't get a Kayvon Thibodeau at 33, so that's why I'm going Thibodeau here.
Interesting. You know, I don't hate the move by any means. I am a very big fan of Icky going to the Texans because I think it would be a guy who can make a really strong impact. But it's not like it's a terrible move, and it could very well happen. Say Kayvon Thibodeau goes too, and it's between Trayvon Walker and Icky, though. I think I would personally take Icky at that point.
Yeah, I think if it was between Walker and Icky, I would have gone Icky.
But this would be historic. The first time 3 edges have gone to start a draft. It's never happened before.
Any thoughts on that? I mean, I know, John, you're picking the Jets at 4 here. Were you hoping maybe Thibodeau fell you at the Jets?
It was an easy. I'd run up the card as fast as I could if I could take Thibodeau to the Jets. So you definitely threw a wrench in their plans.
Well, let's get over to the Jets now. How do you rebound?
So I'm looking at they need an edge rusher still, and I'm looking at Jermaine Johnson, but he's not worth that pick at 4 for me.
It says you.
Yeah, I would love it. I think he's top. I think you could take him top 10. And so now I'm looking at Kyle Hamilton. I think they still need a safety or Sauce Gardner. I think putting a lockdown corner next to DJ Reed, who they've got, would be a really nice young core kind of going on with the rest of their team. But I think I'm going to go with best player available and a guy they need. I would take Ike Ekwonu.
Okay.
At number 4. Dang. And I'll put him with Mekhi Becton, who's been on and off hurt. So maybe this will give them more of a rock in that position to shore it up.
Hey, I really like it, and this is the exact route I went yesterday on the mock draft that Chase and I did with the locker room. Make sure to go check that out. That comes out on the 26th on Tuesday. But that's the exact route I went because George Fant over there at right tackle, not a huge believer in him. And then to add Ike Ekwonu to Mekhi Becton and Elijah Vera Tucker, you're just building around Zach Wilson. And if you want to succeed, you got to build around the quarterback.
Mm-hmm. I know Saleh would love to build on that defense, but if you want to succeed as a coach, you need the quarterback to succeed.
Right.
For sure.
Any thoughts on that one, Graham?
My thoughts is that the Giants coming up here are not too happy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's tough. But there's still some tantalizing options. But
there is.
It would have been real nice if that could have fallen to them.
Let me just roll into it then.
Let's do it.
The Giants, I think, in this scenario, they're hurting a little bit because I think they're hoping that either Ikem Ekwonu or Kayvon Thibodeau falls to them at 5, and neither of them did. So if I'm the Giants here, I go with my plan B, which I don't think there's a huge drop-off from the guy that was just picked to the guy I'm going to take in Evan Neal out of Alabama, offensive tackle. I think that a big thing that the Giants need to do is shore up that offensive line. I think you put you put Evan Neal across from Andrew Thomas, and you've got two solid young tackles. And that'll really, really give you a good look into Daniel Jones and how you think that he can perform in this upcoming season. So I think they're pretty happy with Evan Neal here.
Real quick, breaking news: Miggy just got his 3,000th hit.
He did.
Yeah,
Let's go.
so shout out to Miggy. But I think that is the correct pick. I really like that selection there.
Also, screw the Yankees for walking Miggy.
That was so dumb.
That made me so mad.
Yeah.
Oh, that made me so mad.
Evan Neal, really good pick. Build up the trenches for the New York Giants. And we talked about just with the last pick, build around your quarterback. I think that the Giants should still build around Daniel Jones just so that they can see, okay, he's really not the guy. Time to move on. So building around the quarterback, whether good or bad, you'll figure out real quick if he's your guy or not.
Agreed.
Carolina, Chase at number 6.
Yeah, this is where things get interesting. You can go a couple routes here. There's quarterback,
Good.
there's offensive line, and really that's all I would take at this point with Panthers. And it comes down to what I think is right. I think we've had these discussions before, Mike. What I think is right for the Carolina Panthers is not addressing quarterback early in the draft and making a move for a certain quarterback who is currently the number 2 on his team because of a recent transaction. So I would draft Charles Cross at the 6th spot and find a way to make a move for Baker Mayfield. And if it does not work at that point, then you're going to be bad anyway. You can fire, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank on.
Matt Rule.
Matt Rule, thank you. And you can start new with a new coach and a new quarterback.
I think it's a great idea. The thing is, I want Carolina to start reaching out to Cleveland right now. I don't want them to go into the draft not knowing if they have a chance at Baker, because if they go in and get Charles Cross, don't address the quarterback whatsoever in the draft, and then they still can't get Baker because apparently Seattle is still in the mix for him, like that's just going to be even worse.
It could be real bad for sure. But I just, if I'm drafting here and it's going to be a quarterback, I'm only taking Malik Willis because I'm taking the guy with a real upside, and I just don't see it with Kenny Pickett. I really don't. And the problem here is if they draft a quarterback here, they're going to be the best quarterback on the roster, and that means you got to start Malik Willis right away, and that's just setting him up for failure.
Yeah.
So you can't do that to him.
That's a good point.
I just want to go back and do all of our positional rankings over again because if you don't see it with Kenny Pickett, how do you see it with Carson Strong?
I've told you 1,000 times I've redone my rankings.
Yes, I know, but Kenny Pickett's your number 3, but you don't see it with him, so why would he be your number 3?
Because I don't really see it very well with the other ones either.
Yeah, this whole class is kind of...
I think Kenny Pickett is of that top 6, Kenny Pickett's the 3rd most likely to become a legitimate NFL starter, hence why he's my 3rd. And I don't have very much faith in Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder, or Carson Strong really anymore.
I would say Kenny Pickett's the most likely to become an NFL starter because if a team drafts him, they know he's ready to go, and bam, already immediate starter.
I mean, I think he could be ready to go and play. Doesn't mean he's going to not throw 16 touchdowns, 17 interceptions.
No, it doesn't, but Trevor Lawrence is a starter, isn't he?
No, he
threw
is.
12 for 17.
100%. It's not wrong at all. I just have a lot more faith in Trevor Lawrence than Kenny Pickett, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think
As
upside
everyone
is fair,
should.
but anyways, let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's go to the number 7 pick with the New York Giants, that being Graham. You went Evan Neal, with the 5th pick. So what are we thinking here with the 7?
Man, it's kind of crazy. We had 3 edges go 1, 2, 3, and then 3 offensive tackles go 4, 5, 6. So I think the Giants here, they have their pick out of, in my opinion, the best safety or the best cornerback. I think they go DB here. So in my opinion, it's between Kyle Hamilton and Sauce Gardner. So it's a tough pick for me here. I think they go Sauce Gardner just because of the kind of limbo that James Bradbury's in right now. They're not really sure if they're going to trade him or what's his situation. So I think they go Sauce Gardner here. Take, in my opinion, the best cornerback in this draft. And they're pretty happy with that, I think.
And I got to say, I like it a lot better than Kyle Hamilton. If you listen to our DBs episode, I've got a lot of questions around Kyle Hamilton. So taking my number 1 defensive back at 7, I love it.
Yeah, he's mine, number 3 defensive back, number 2 corner. But I don't think it's a bad pick by any means. I think that's very realistic. I don't think it's a crime if he goes as the first DB off the board. I would prefer, Derek Stingley in most situations, but it's certainly something I'm not going to be mad at.
Mm-hmm. Let's not throw it over to John with the number 8 pick. He's got Atlanta sitting here. Atlanta, a lot of different options they could go.
Yeah, they have so many holes, and you got to think about the future of this team. Do I want to go edge and try to put Jermaine Johnson there, but they're not going to be competing at all next year? Do I want to put Malik Willis on this team and have him sit behind Mariota for a year and they build up some weapons in a deep wide receiver draft? Or do I want to take a wide out or even pull the trigger on Kyle Hamilton? I'm asking this because I don't really know what I want to do. I think I'm going to give them my favorite wide receiver in this draft, and I think the best wide receiver, I'll give him Garrett Wilson. And then when Calvin Ridley comes back next year, they'll have Calvin Ridley, Garrett Wilson, Kyle Pitts, and then they'll draft their quarterback because they're not going to win any more games with Garrett Wilson. He's not going to give them an extra game. And then they draft one of those 2 quarterbacks coming out next year, and they'll have him set up for some success.
I know it's not going to happen, but I really would love to see George Pickens go with this pick. The UGA boys stay, in Georgia, make the move there. I would love to see it, but I know that that's not the reality. So this pick, you can't hate on it. I think it makes sense. He's my wide receiver 4, but still, again, someone I would be willing to take as the top receiver off the board.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Johnny. He's my wide receiver 1 as well. So absolutely love Garrett Wilson here to Atlanta. Give Mariota a little bit more help, and then once they get like 3 wins, then they can go get C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young.
For sure.
All right, well, let's take a look back at our top 8 picks. We saw 3 offensive linemen, 3 defensive linemen, all coming from the edge. You got a wide receiver and a corner. Chase, any surprises here from you or in your mind with how the first 8 went down?
No, I think the only one in this top 8 that I haven't seen routinely go in the top 10 is maybe sometimes Garrett Wilson, honestly. And it's very rare because he's usually at the 10 spot. So it's pretty much as you'd expect.
Yeah. All right, let's now move on to number 9. That's me with Seattle. This is going to be a fun spot, I think. I could go a couple different options. I've seen Jermaine Johnson mocked here quite a few times. I've seen Malik Willis here, which could be fun as well. But I think instead of going quarterback high, kind of like we did in the other mock, I'm going to stick with edge, and I'm going to go Jermaine Johnson here out of Florida State. Even though I have an edge ranked higher than him, it's different scheme fits. George Karlaftis, more your edge setter, run stopper versus Jermaine Johnson. He's going to be a guy that can rush the passer really well. So I think that fit works. I've seen it on a lot of different mocks, so I'm going to stick with it.
I think John's a little upset with his next pick. I think he was hoping Jermaine was going to be there.
This mock reminds me of our fantasy. You're taking all my guys. Man.
Oh, yeah, so I vultured you twice, eh?
That's tough.
Number 3 with Houston, and then number 9 with Seattle. I love it.
Great picks, though.
Thank you.
I'm a huge Jermaine Johnson guy, so I can get behind this.
And Seattle's a team that has a lot of holes, so you're just trying to find someone that's going to be able to produce because you need a lot of those guys to actually turn the corner. All right, let's go back to you, John, with your New York Jets. Their last pick in the first round. 4, you went Ike Mekwonu. 10, where are you looking?
Well, you made it pretty easy for me to stay on brand here and help my young quarterback.
There you go.
Sal, again, is a defensive mind, but you got to get this quarterback running, and they need a wide receiver. Elijah Moore had a great breakout year last year, not compared to the top 2, Jamar Chase with that amazing year and Jalen Waddle with all those receptions, but he had a good year, and he can be a good receiver. But I think getting a big body, someone who could be great at contested catches as well. He's coming off an injury, but I think he's great. I'm giving him Drake London from USC.
All I want in life is Drake London to fall to the Saints because it would just make Jameis Winston's life so much easier because, Jameis Winston, he just kind of goes, F it, wide receivers down there somewhere, and just chucks the ball. So Drake London could actually go out and win a ball or 2 for him, which would be awesome to see, but I can't hate on the pick
Drake
here.
London is just like a Mike Evans type receiver.
He's very similar.
He would be Jameson's guy.
And
But Zach Wilson's like that too.
I was going to say, I think Zach Wilson's very similar to that. And I had the Jets in our mock last night. I went Drake London as well because at 10, because I just think that you continue to build around the quarterback and you get a guy who can be Zach Wilson's best friend. Like, their other receivers are good, but can they get up and get that red zone touchdown? Can they get up when he's scrambling, getting himself in trouble? He just throws it up. Like Drake London's going to be that guy. So
who needs to watch the Locker Room Pod? You're giving away all the picks from that from that show here.
Only my picks. There was some shocking stuff. All right. Well, now we go to Washington. We go back to me. JR me. That's just how this mock's going.
You're saying Jeremy really weird.
Oh, okay. Well, now we got the Washington Commanders.
Yes.
Again?
Commanders, dude.
You're doing this on the podcast again?
Guardians is
Dude,
baseball.
I don't know their name. I'm sorry. Commanders?
Yes.
Yeah, Guardians is the Cleveland baseball team.
Yes.
Okay, well, both names suck, so I'm sorry.
True.
That's true.
Washington Commanders are now on the board. I kind of want to just steal Chase's guy here.
That's really rude.
It is, but I kind of want to anyways. I'm not going to, though.
Nice.
I'm going to go George Pickens.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love it.
Wow.
Oh, I'm
gonna go George
fan.
Pickens.
That is really
I would shake your
early.
hand if I had the arm movement.
So
Really early.
my wide receiver list goes as follows. We've got Garrett Wilson. George Pickens now comes in at number 2. Drake London at number 3. We said we're doing it, somewhat realistic, but what we would do, I love George Pickens, and I think that Washington needs a receiver. So there we go.
it brings them a different type of receiver than what's already in the room. They had, Antonio Ganey-Golden that they tried, and obviously he ain't it. It's a shame. would have been nice because big fan of him coming out of college, but didn't really translate. So this is a move that makes a ton of sense. They're getting a bigger body guy who's got some speed, still got some athleticism, but brings a lot more of those possession traits that you're looking for.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what he can do. And Carson Wentz gets another weapon. Is Carson Wentz the guy? No. All right, well, let's now move on to Chase at number 12 with Minnesota. A lot of guys you could look here.
I am doing backflips and somersaults and cartwheels up to the podium as I turn in Derek Stingley's name. Are you kidding me? At falling to the Vikings at the 12th overall pick. What a dream. What a dream for the Vikings, and how annoying for the Lions that they get to go against someone who I think is going to be a top 5 corner in the league.
Well, you guys
for
might be
their whole
okay if he can't stay healthy, but I agree. This is a great scheme fit, and Derek Stingley, super high potential. Also, LSU corner can learn from LSU corner Pat Pete.
Yes, sir. Man, that would be. It could very well happen. It working out like this, I could see it, and it would just be a dream situation for the Vikings if this were to happen.
It's a good pick. Back to me again. Wow. 3 picks in the last 6.
You're busy.
We got the Houston Texans now on the clock.
Are you also backflipping, cartwheeling, and somersaulting up to the podium?
Who did I took Kayvon Thibodeau first, so let me see.
Oh, you're not going to
I want
backflip,
here.
somersault, and cartwheel up to the podium, huh?
Well, I'm not a big fan of Kyle Hamilton, so.
God,
He's so good, though.
Is he?
you're just a hater.
Let's just move on. Let's just keep it going.
I might
Oh, that's
shock
too
some
funny.
people here. Should
Chase,
I?
Chase, the Ravens, they don't need a safety. They don't need a safety.
We're going to see, aren't we? Let's shock some people. Come on, shock some people. Do it.
All right, let's do it. We're going to go to the national champions and get Jordan Davis, the defensive lineman.
They have Ross Blacklock. He's the best defensive tackle in the league, but okay.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm just going to continue to bolster that defensive line, make it Houston of old. They used to have Whitney Merciless and J.J. Watt. They had a lot of good players there when they were in, the early 2010s going on a bunch of playoff runs. So let's try to get that back here with Jordan Davis and Kayvon Thibodeau.
Like I said, this is my one little bit of information I will leak for the Locker Room podcast. I did say that I think D-tackle is an incredibly underrated position in the NFL nowadays. So if you have a guy that can win in the ways that Jordan Davis does from the DT position, you're going to have a huge benefit on your defensive front.
And I think that the Bucs have shown us how valuable a player like Vita Vea can be. And I think Jordan Davis can be Vita Vea in the run game, but even better in the pass rush game.
I agree. That's fair.
It's a pick that I'm okay with. Let's now move back to you, Chase. You got Baltimore here.
Speaking of picks that teams are okay with, the Baltimore Ravens are the winners of the draft getting Kyle Hamilton at 14. What a fit. What a dream.
That sucks.
They really could just, they could really use just a defensive stud, and that is what Kyle Hamilton is, someone you can kind of use as a chess piece in your defensive schemes. You can move him around a little bit. I talked about his versatility before. It's too easy. You're making this too easy for me, guys.
That sucks.
Hey, as a Bengal fan, I am completely okay with this because
I'm okay with the Ravens taking a special safety. Yeah, good with that.
if you look at the DB episode, I'm not a huge believer in Kyle Hamilton, and I think Jamar Chase will make him look silly. So
They're never going to match up against each other.
Dude, Hamilton is going to
well, if he's going to be that safety, or if he's even in the box going up against a Tyler Boyd, he's still going to get smoked. So I would be completely okay with it. What were you saying over there?
Hamilton is he's gonna give Burrow problems for years. He covers the whole field. He's so rangy. He's a good player.
He's not that rangy. He doesn't
He's
have
a lot
the
rangier
speed.
than you think he is.
Dude, the intuition. He's just everywhere. He's not even that. He just
I
knows
agree.
where to be.
He's got great intuition, but if a play isn't breaking down, if a play is completely intact, he doesn't know what's happening. He takes terrible angles. Joe Mixon will put him in the dirt. I'm okay with it.
He's got the same side-to-side speed as he does straight line, which is just incredible. Because you could say, straight line speed isn't just blazing, but he runs faster than a 4.72 on the field.
And
let's
side to
be
side
honest.
speed is really good for your front seven.
Yeah,
But
and he's going to be playing a lot more down low. He's not going to be playing super heavy in coverage, especially on the Ravens. He's going to be a lot more used as that piece to kind of be in the box and rush the quarterback and really cause disruption in the running game.
I'm happy with it.
I think this is an unreal pick for the Ravens.
That sucks.
Let's now go to Graham with the Eagles. Obviously not very happy about that pick, but what do you got?
The Eagles were foaming at the mouth because Kyle Hamilton was falling so far.
Did they get the rabies shot?
No, they didn't. So, man, now they're in a tough position because I feel like a lot of their top prospects already went. Kyle Hamilton's up there. They didn't even think he would be even close to them. Jordan Davis is up there. Derek Stingley is up there as well. So these last three picks were like three of the guys that they were hoping to fall, I think. Let's see. I think they do need safety. They need linebacker. They need a receiver. I think those are their top needs. So I think they're gonna go Devin Lloyd here, linebacker. I think that he is the best linebacker in this draft. They signed Kazir White and Hassan Reddick over the offseason, which Hassan Reddick's pretty good. Kazir White, not so much. He's more versatile and not super great, but he's young. But I think that they do still need a really solid coverage linebacker who can also rush the passer. So I think they take Devin Lloyd here.
It's not a pick I've seen too often, but it's a pick I can get behind because I've talked quite a few times about my high hopes and expectations for Devin Lloyd being one of the more ready linebackers that I've ever seen and someone who has legitimate 100-plus tackle a year, every single year upside.
And that's something that you and I actually agree on. A lot of the times we don't agree on stuff. Now, he's not a Micah Parsons, but
no, he plays completely different.
No, I know, but I'm saying he won't even make an impact that Micah Parsons made
Maybe
in
not.
his rookie year. I still think he's excellent and can be a top 8 linebacker across the league, top 8 middle linebacker across the league. So it's a good fit and it's a high-end talent. So I'm a big fan. All right, John.
Wow, way to spoil the pick, John. That makes me very upset as the Chargers pick.
I don't care. For the first time in this draft, I have a really easy pick. I think New Orleans needs some help with the tackles, and I think I would have loved Charles Cross getting there, but he wouldn't drop. So
Yeah.
I'm giving them Trevor Penning from Northern Iowa. They think they're 1 piece, 2 pieces away from winning a championship. I would love to give him Malik and have him sit there because it seems like I think he would be a good fit for that team, but they want championships. They don't want projects. So I'm giving them Trevor Penning.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that the Saints think that. Like one of the pieces that they think are, 1 or 2 away, the quarterback position, or what are they thinking? I like the pick overall, though. Like, there's nothing wrong with just continuing to build up the trenches.
No, that's...
But Chase is salty about it.
I am a little salty, but it's okay because...
Nope. We got to look at the top. 9 through 16.
I'll say it's okay because Mike wants to evaluate these next 8 or last 8 picks. That's what I was going to say.
True.
But you cut me off. So,
and I want to actually go to Johnny about this because you talked about you had your Kyle Hamilton and Derek Stingley, who you thought were insane values and drops at that position. So we know where you sit. We know Graham very salty about how the 3 picks before the Eagles went down. So I'm curious, John, what do you think about the picks 9 through 16? Any big surprises for you? Any picks that you think are just perfect fits?
I really like Jordan Davis. It's a interesting pick for the Texans themselves, but I think he's a great player, and I think he's a great run stopper, and I think he'd be great just overall on that defensive line, really giving him some grit. But something that surprised me, if I was Washington, I probably wouldn't take Pickens. I love Pickens. I think he is maybe the most talented wide receiver. You can
just say he is the most talented wide receiver.
It's been a couple of years, and he did look good when we saw him most recent. But then he's like 6'3", and he's like only 190 something. I worry that like if he gets hurt or something, then you're leaving that team out to dry. I would have probably given him someone a little more reliable on the field just for now, even though Pickens has, I think, a higher upside. But
I'm curious about this. I don't think, from what I can remember, I don't think you were one of the guys worried about Devonta Smith because of his size. Also, are you as worried about Derek Stingley as you are George Pickens? Because Stingley, in his last 2 years, only 10 games played, and in that COVID season, he dipped his production.
Yeah, I had Sauce as my number one pretty easily just because of that. And because, again, we haven't seen it in a long time. And I think Stingley could be otherworldly if he's healthy. And it's the same thing with Pickens. I like to be able to see it. But if he's on the field and he's good, it just gives me flashbacks to Xavier Rhodes when he was great on Minnesota. Like, maybe not the same type of player, but just like a nuisance every time. It was just... So I hope if that ever happens that he goes to Minnesota, he's not that good. But
that's nice of you.
Devonta Smith, I didn't see. I just wasn't as much injuries on the field as often as Pickens. That's why. But I wasn't as worried about the weight for him just because I didn't see as many injuries.
Gotcha. All right, let's now move on to the second half of the draft. We'll start with pick 17, the LA Chargers to chase.
Yes, sir. I've got one offensive tackle left with a first-round grade, so that is who I will be taking. I will be taking Minnesota's Daniel Falele. It's someone that I have higher than most people. I got him ranked, I think, as my 17th total player on the board, and I have a very high hope, very high ceiling in mind for Daniel Falele. I think he's someone who can come to the league, be an immediate, help at right tackle, and go on to be one of the league's more premier right tackles. And really, that's what the Chargers need because they got Rashawn Slater on the left side, so you don't need to worry about someone that can play left or right. You can just draft the right tackle. He can take over for whoever the hell Storm Norton is. And that's a new name to me. So he can step in right away, play right tackle, really help out in the run game, and provide the pass protection from that side when needed.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick. He's a natural right tackle, just coming out of Minnesota. And even though he needs some help in the run game, in the pass game, like he's just a wall. The size that he has, and as we know, the Chargers, they're more built around that pass game with Justin Herbert and Austin Eckler coming out of the backfield and all that kind of stuff they can do. So I like the pick. I think it's a good fit.
If Falele turns out to be an elite right tackle, you've got an absolute monster of a tackle duo.
For real.
Yes, you do.
All right, back to Graham with the Eagles at 18.
Well, the Eagles have got to go wide receiver here because Jalen Reagor is not a number one wide receiver in this league. So I think that they go... It's a tough pick. I think they go Chris Olave here, wide receiver out of Ohio State. And I think that he instantly becomes their number one. They've completely whiffed on wide receiver drafting over the past few years. And so I think that this can be the pick that kind of remedies that.
I've got 2 wide receivers ranked higher, but it's still probably of who's left the pick I make right there if I'm taking receiver as well, so I can get behind it.
I like Chris Olave a lot. I've got him ranked higher than Chase, and we'll see if him and Devonta Smith can get it going for that wide receiver core. But I did see a reaction out of John. I don't know if he liked that pick.
When I first heard it, I was annoyed because New Orleans is definitely thinking wide receiver at that next pick. If they're wanting a championship, they need more players on that offense. But the more I think about it, the less I think they'd take Olave. I think he's more of a route runner, kind of like Michael Thomas, but I think he's probably better. But we'll see how he translates to the NFL.
So who are you taking at 19 then?
So then at 19, when I'm going over these wide receivers, I have two that I really like right now. I like Treylon Burks a lot. I think he plays a lot faster than his 40 that he came in with. But the guy I think I'm going to go with is Jameson Williams from Alabama. He's hurt and he's not going to be ready, maybe, but he's progressing quicker than they thought, so he may be ready for training camp. But he's got that speed. He really had a breakout year this year. And I think he'll really help take the top off, and then Michael Thomas can do his slants down below, and everyone will be happy.
Slant boy.
Yeah, and the offense would actually look really good with Kamara coming out of the backfield. It would be kind of scary to see. So I think it'd be a good pick for them.
Yeah, and I think it addresses a need the Saints have had ever since they traded away Brandon Cooks. So I like the pick.
Word.
All right, this brings me up with the Steelers at 20, and I feel like this is kind of easy. I'm going to go to the developmental prospect at quarterback, Malik Willis. I don't think Mitch Trubisky's the guy. Maybe you guys think I'm wrong, but this is a pick I'm very excited for. If he gets out of the top 10, I think 20 is the perfect spot for him.
I was really hoping that for whatever reason you weren't going to draft him, and then I could just grab one with the Titans pick at 26, because why the hell not at that point?
Yeah.
But fair.
All right. Let's now move on to the Patriots, and that goes to Chase.
Oh, that does go to me. Look at that. You know, it's really, really a shame that Devin Lloyd had to go so early, because that's the guy I've been mocking almost nonstop to this pick here. But with that being said, the fit that I think makes the most sense would be a guy that I view as a versatile defensive back, Trent McDuffie, someone that can play corner, can play safety. I really like him, again, as a chess piece. And I do really like, especially in the defensive backfields, versatile pieces, guys that can move around. You can kind of adjust your schemes, adjust your coverage, and use him pretty much no matter what's going on the field. So I'm a big fan of this pick here. I think the Patriots would be quite happy.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick. I mean, we talked about Trent McDuffie, how he can be really good in certain schemes. And you mentioned you like him at Minnesota, Baltimore, and New England. And because Derek Stingley and Kyle Hamilton were available for the two I mentioned prior, New England was the perfect spot.
Yes, sir.
John, let's now move over to you. You've got Green Bay. This is a team that's in desperate need of wide receiver. However, we've already seen 5 go off the board. Are we still looking that direction?
I think they are. They need to give Aaron Rodgers something, or he's going to throw a tantrum worse than what he's already done before. And so when I'm looking here, I already said I love Jameson Williams, but I also really like Treylon Burks, and I think it's a match made in heaven. A guy that Aaron Rodgers could get the ball to anywhere on the field, and he could break it off for a big play. He's a nice big body receiver, and sticking around with Lazard, who I think is a little faster at times, and he's more downfield. He doesn't have too much going on for him otherwise. I think Treylon Burks would be a nice weapon. So I'm going to give them Treylon Burks out of Arkansas and try to make Aaron Rodgers as happy as possible so that man wants to stick around.
I don't know. I think the right move for the Packers would be to draft this guy who was at the bottom of this receiver board that I could find, Devontavion Martin from Oklahoma State.
I agree. I was thinking that too.
I think they should draft the least talented players possible. I think that's what's best for their organization.
You think they'd actually take wide receiver? I'm looking at Cole Kelly, quarterback out of southeastern Louisiana.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I just got to say, Eddie Lacy 2.0 question mark? Conditioning questions with Treylon Burks. We'll see.
No, not the same.
All right. Hey, I'm up with Arizona here. I think this is a super easy pick. They need help on the interior of that offensive line. I'm going my number 1 guard, and that's going to be Zion Johnson. Absolutely love the fit. Love the player. It's just a slam dunk.
It'd be a slam dunk if you took the right player, but yeah, interior is definitely fair. You could have went either Tyler Linderbaum or Kenyon Green, 2 guys that are significantly better, but whatever.
That's so wrong. And Tyler Linderbaum, more of a natural center. Could he move to guard? Sure. I don't think teams are going to want him to move to guard. But Zion Johnson, Kenyon Green, you can have your arguments there.
No, I will. I don't think really arguments, I guess. We kind of had the talks, I guess, on our offensive line show already. Mm-hmm. Don't need to have any more arguments.
All right, finally, for these 8 picks. We're going to go back to John. He's got a pick with Dallas. Treylon Burks is off the board. That felt like a Jerry Jones pick, but no longer got to worry about that. Where are you going here?
So Dallas has been saying all offseason they need a guard, and you took Zion Johnson, the second best guard. So I think I'll take the better one. I'll give them Kenyon Green to shore up that inside, help that run game, give Dak Prescott a little more time, and let that explosive offense do their thing.
Just letting you guys know, on PFF, Zion Johnson was ranked, I think, 21. Kenyon Green ranked 39. So you guys a little off in your evaluation.
PFF grades are great. PFF rankings are terrible. We've talked about this multiple times as a group.
PFF is a tool to use only when it
fits my agenda.
Supports your
So
narrative.
I am absolutely correct. Zion Johnson, the better player.
It's not fitting my point, so no.
All right, let's look back. 17 through 24 saw wide receivers and offensive linemen mainly go, but I think the biggest one is we finally see a quarterback off the board. Graham, what are your thoughts?
I think that it makes sense here. I've seen Kenny or Desmond Ridder. I think I've seen mocked here a lot of times. So it's cool. I like it. I think that Pittsburgh does need a quarterback because the room that they have right now is not going to take them anywhere. And I'd like to see them kind of shake up the way that they have been playing the quarterback position for 200 years, basically, and take a mobile quarterback in Malik Willis. So I think it's fun.
Awesome. Let's now start off the last quarter of the draft with back-to-back picks by Chase. His last two picks.
My final 2 picks of this mock draft. And, as time goes on, you think more and more, what do the Bills want? What do the Bills need?
A Super Bowl.
And they do.
That's a great point.
And
a quarterback.
I would really, I'm not going to interrupt at this time, love to draft a running back at this position. I would love to draft Breece Hall at this position. It's too bad Mike's boy, Andrew Booth, is right here for the taking.
Ooh.
So I think this just makes too much sense. A team that could really use someone in their defensive backfield, a cornerback would be a big help for the Bills, and Andrew Booth is a solid fit.
I got to say, that's probably one of the more scary defensive back units now with their 2 safeties, Poyer and Micah Hyde. And then you also add Andrew Booth to the other corner that I can't remember his name right now. He was injured. White.
Yeah.
So good picks there. Let's now go to Tennessee.
Yeah. So now, I really hate seeing Tyler Linderbaum still available here at the 26th pick because I'm a firm believer in he should go much higher. I can't take him here. It's not really a fit. So I got to go with what I feel is the best fit. And, I was really hoping, again, I would have taken him at the Patriots pick, so it doesn't matter. But if Devin Lloyd is available for the Titans, that would make a bunch of sense. So you go next best linebacker, Nakobe Dean, someone that is a bit of a tweener, someone who is right in between that linebacker size and that safety size, but can kind of play a multitude of roles. I think he is going to live as a true linebacker and play some safety, some sub situations when he needs to, but will be someone who has a good chance of being a pretty good linebacker in the NFL.
I like it. It's a good pick. Any thoughts from you guys? No?
I'll just say that I do like Nakobe Dean a lot, and I was hoping that he would fall a little bit further because in real life, I would like the Lions to take Nakobe Dean.
It would be nice. I would not hate it at all.
All right. I am now up at 27 with Tampa Bay. This one's a little bit tougher. They definitely need to fill out that interior offensive line because they lost both guards. I don't think wide receiver is a huge need, even though Antonio Brown's gone. They did bring over Russell Gage. I feel like their secondary could use a little bit of a boost too. So there's 2 players on between. A very good offensive lineman. That could be fun, but I think that I'm going to address the defense and go with Daxton Hill out of Michigan. I think him and the reunion of Tom Brady could be a lot of fun.
Are you just purposely making sure that Tyler Linderbaum's available for the Bengals?
Yes. Okay. Absolutely, I am.
That's another guy that I was hoping the Lions would be able to take.
I got to say, though, if I'm the Bucks here, I don't think I'd take Tyler Linderbaum because
wouldn't.
he's just a natural center. Like, I don't see him filling in on the guard position, so I might be looking more towards like a Kennard or something.
I think he could play guard and definitely could do it in spot duty, but he's a better fit on a team. Like, I really think the Cardinals make sense if he falls at low because Rodney Hudson's out the door in a year.
But they need more help at guard right now than they do center.
And I think he can still play guard right now if you really need him to. He's just not going to have the ceiling and success level that he would once he moves to center for the finale.
And he's kind of more of a outside run movement type of guy. So I agree, Arizona could be a fit there. But if you're going like Indianapolis Colts, not a fit because they're power straight up the gut.
And they don't have first round pick anyway.
All right, Green Bay with Johnny, your last pick of the mock. What are we thinking?
So when you said defense, my heart skipped a beat for a minute. I love Daxton Hill. He's a fast, great safety. But I think Green Bay needs help on the edge. They want to stack another guy probably to get some more pressures. So I love George Karlaftis from Purdue, but there's also the upside of Ojabo. I don't think they'll take him, but they're a team that could wait on a player and get him. And if he's elite and he comes back fully healthy, David Ojabo was showing signs of being an elite player with a high ceiling. But I think the way the Packers play, they're kind of boring. They're in a cold, old place. They're just no fun. So I'll give him Karlaftis, a great player, but not the upside that I think with Ojabo.
I got to say that I don't think I've ever heard an Aaron Rodgers offense called boring. So saying the Packers play boring is interesting.
I'm saying they draft boring. They don't play boring.
But they don't draft boring. So they take Jordan Love when they have no need to.
That's fair.
Yes, I guess.
And if there's a team willing to take a chance on a very raw Michigan pass rusher, Rashawn Gary, sounds like the Packers.
I was looking at Rashawn Gary, and I thought it'd be, but I don't want to give them another Michigan guy because then
that hurts your heart.
Yeah, and again, I don't care. It's who I'm drafting for. You're defending the Packers. Karlaftis is great. He'll have success there. He's a bull rush.
Love
kind of
Karlaftis.
Not as good as Ojabo.
Yes, he is. He's better, actually.
Not for my
well, it
rankings.
depends what you want to see out of a guy. If you want a guy who's going to make an impact, then you obviously go Karlaftis.
And if you want a guy who's going to
be sitting on the bench,
David Ojabo.
Go David Ojabo. That's right.
That makes sense, Mike. Big impact, David Ojabo.
Yeah, on the
Small
bench.
impact.
Big impact on the bench. I love it.
Big impact.
All right,
on the
let's
field,
go with the
10
Kansas
sacks a
City
year.
Chiefs. That being Graham.
It's okay, Chase. You don't have to wait long. I'm going to go David Ojabo here. I think that
there we go.
I think the Chiefs need. I think they need an edge.
Now let me tell you why that's the wrong pick.
But I think they're pretty happy with that pick. They brought in who'd they bring in? Melvin Ingram they brought in from the Chargers last year, and he made a good impact. But I think that they definitely need a dominant player there, and I think Ojabo would be a good player for them at the 29 spot.
I would agree. Can't hate it.
Good little player, and they've got some older guys on the defensive line right now, so he can heal up and learn the game behind them, and then he'll be ready to explode, just like Pat Mahomes did.
Word.
Word.
All right, you're back with the Chiefs on the clock. What are we thinking?
He's right there for you. Who am I talking about?
This is a tough decision, but. Is this the guy that Chase wants me to take here?
Take that wide receiver.
Is it?
Who do I want you to take here?
I think that the Chiefs, they run a high-powered offense, don't they? They do.
I would say that's fair.
I would say so, too. And they lost a guy this offseason.
Who?
To the Dolphins. They lost Tyreek Hill.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah. He's a guy. He played on the field, I think, for them a little bit.
Is he that tall, lanky guy that's really slow?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Gotcha.
So I think that they want to go with a guy with some speed to replace him. So I think that they go Christian Watson here. I knew
that's the right pick. Yes. Good man. Good man.
Really, really fast guy. He's got a really good frame, and I think that he could, if he can develop, I think that he can be their number one.
I've seen a lot of hate recently about Christian Watson because FCS receivers, they don't have a traditionally good history in the NFL. A lot of them develop slower if they develop at all, and the flashes that you see at the FCS level don't often translate to the NFL level. but we haven't really seen an FCS player that's coming out looking like Christian Watson with the elite level testing size, elite level testing athleticism, with enough of a proven history to show that he's got good ball skills. You know, he hasn't caught 400 career college passes, but he's got enough of a resume where you can see that he has the ball skills. He can go up and get the ball if he needs to. He can, run a route well. He does all those things very well enough that I think there's a real chance that this kid explodes and becomes a dominant NFL receiver.
I think Christian Watson is the best, athlete by, testing numbers out of all the wide receivers.
Yeah.
Good pick. And honestly, if that was the case, I might take him at number 3 in our dynasty draft.
It's tempting.
So, very much is. All right, Bengals. I am on the clock, and Tyler Linderbaum
who you're gonna take
is here for me. And
I dare you to pass on him.
In the past mock draft, I had 2 guys fall to the Bengals that I thought was ridiculous. Why would they do that? I've got the same thing here, and although Tyler Linderbaum's great,
oh my god,
come on,
I'm taking the number 1 defensive lineman number 1 defensive tackle on my rankings, the 3 technique that the Bengals desperately need. Geno Atkins 2.0. Give me Devontae Wyatt out of Georgia. Bam. It's a bigger need than offensive line is right now because we addressed it. We got a center, we got a guard, and we got an offensive tackle in free agency. The reason we did that is so that we could have this type of freedom. To get a top 15 player in the draft at 31 is shocking.
Why take the 7th best player on the board when you can take the 30th best player on the board?
On your flawed board. So, all right, the Lions, the last pick of the draft. What are we thinking, Graham?
Hurts because I had a lot of guys that I wanted. Just to name a few, Nakobe Dean, I was hoping to get here. I was hoping to get Daxton Hill here, one of the top wide receivers, and I think all of those guys are gone. So I am.
This kind of sucks
at
for
a
the Lions
loss
here.
Yeah,
it kind of sucks.
It does kind of suck for the Lions here. I've seen a lot of people mock them a quarterback here. I really don't see it. I think that the only quarterback on their radar really is Malik Willis.
There we go.
His name completely left my mind there for a second. And he's obviously going to be gone by this point. So I'm not 100% sure what to go here. I would think that they might go wide receiver, but at the same time, I don't think that Brad Holmes would go wide receiver here. I think that he trusts himself to make a better pick for a wide receiver later on. It might even be at 34. I don't know. Man, this is really tough.
Do you want me to start a countdown?
Yeah.
30.
Yeah,
Hey,
29,
I gotta say,
28.
it is a tough pick because the best values here easily are offensive line and defensive line with Tyler Linderbaum and Boye Mafe, Arnold Ebiketie. Like, these guys could realistically go here, but you guys just addressed edge and with that 2nd overall pick, and you've got a very good offensive line. So, it's just a tough spot.
Yeah, I think something that hurt the Lions at this pick is the fact that there was no quarterback run. Like some are saying, maybe 2 more quarterbacks like Pickett and maybe Howell or Corral or someone may go.
And in reality, that's what's bound to happen just because we wouldn't do it and aren't doing it here. Let's be real. So the NFL teams are going to go up and take the chance on the quarterback because a lot of guys are trying to save their job and hope that the quarterback can do that. So we're bound to see it, and it's going to look a little differently for the Lions on draft day.
You know what? Even though I don't think that Brad Holmes would necessarily do this in real life, I'm going to go Jahan Dotson out of Penn State here, wide receiver. I think that the Lions do need a wide receiver, a really talented one. I think that they shored up the position pretty well this offseason by bringing in DJ Chark. I think he's your X receiver. And then you got Amon-Ra in the slot, and you can put Josh Reynolds out at Z. But I do think that they need a guy. Obviously, DJ Chark's only on a 1-year deal. I definitely could see him getting re-signed in the offseason next season if he really shows out. But Chase, you sighed. Why is that? You don't like Jahan Dotson?
I just told Mike last night on Xbox, actually, when we were sitting there chatting. it was Kyle Yates put out a tweet. Who would be the dynasty wide receiver 1 if they all went to these landing spots and then had Jahan Dotson going to the Lions? I'm like, this would be the worst receiver the Lions could take of all the guys available that are in this draft. I'm going to be honest, because of the draft capital it's going to cost to take a guy who is going to be relegated to the slot and is, in terms of talent, or even walking onto that roster, at best is the 3rd best receiver on that roster.
What wide receiver would you take here if you were to take a wide receiver?
If I
feel
really,
like all the guys are gone. I'm not really sure.
I would completely pass a wide receiver, but if I had gun to my head said you take a receiver or you're gone off this planet, I'm taking Sky Moore there. Someone who is a slot guy, but offers more talent from the position than Jahan Dotson and more of a ceiling.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not with you on that.
Jahan Dotson's not going to be the NFL after his rookie contract. You heard it here first.
Coming from that guy who likes Samir White, too.
Let's put that one in the...
Yeah, the guy who does like Samir White.
I'm surprised no running backs went, honestly. I thought it would have been a slam dunk at 25, but Chase decided not to. And then, yeah, I guess the other places don't really fit, but...
If Andrew Booth wasn't there, I would have for sure, but they could definitely use a little defensive back help.
So I would have loved George Pickens here, but I feel like he was way overdrafted.
I mean, talent-wise, I don't think he was overdrafted. For what's going to happen, in reality, he probably was, because he's going to go lower because NFL teams are run by idiots more often than not, to be honest. Whether
they're not as smart as you and I when it comes to George Pickens.
Oh, I know they're not. They can listen and get mad at me, but we have a pretty good track record of some of these guys that everyone was out on and we were in on. Like a Justin Herbert who went and hit immediately. So maybe they'll start listening to us, and maybe we'll get jobs here pretty soon because we deserve them.
I agree. All right, well that's it for the draft. Johnny, I want to go back to you. Looking at that overall draft board. Your favorite pick? Why?
I think my favorite pick. I have 2, and they're right next to each other.
Okay.
One that I made I really liked, just because I feel like it's a good fit, and I would just be excited to see it. Is Jameson Williams on the New Orleans Saints? I just think that offense would be more fun to watch because it hasn't been. It's just been Kamara, and I feel really bad for him. He's just getting hit, always having to do everything. And so I think if Michael Thomas actually does come back at some point, and they play, I think it'd be fun to see Jameson Williams on that field because I think he's a really fun wide receiver to watch. And then my other favorite pick is right next to it, Malik Willis to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I love Malik Willis as a player. I like him as a guy. He seems like a really stand-up guy. And I think going to a place where he can really succeed, get a good coach, and just get some good training for a whole year, I would actually be really excited to see what he could become. So.
Mm-hmm. Graham, your favorite pick. You got one?
Yeah, mine are actually right next to each other as well.
Oh, that's so cute.
But mine is picks 14 and 15. I was really, really hoping that Kyle Hamilton would keep falling, but Chase picked him with Baltimore. I'm not sure how much they really, really need Kyle Hamilton, but I think that he will make that secondary absolutely lethal. And right after that, I was able to take Devin Lloyd with Philadelphia. I don't know how much you guys loved it, but I think that Philadelphia loves having Devin Lloyd. They really, really need a linebacker, and I think that Devin Lloyd is, in my opinion, maybe not by far and away, but he is definitely the best linebacker in this draft, and I think he fits in really well with their defense.
And then, Chase, I want to swing it to you for your least favorite pick.
My least favorite pick. Well, I'm telling you my favorite anyway because I really did like your Jermaine Johnson pick.
Oh, thank you.
So you're welcome.
I like that too.
My least favorite pick, man. There's 24 picks here, and none of them were made by me. They're all just terrible. 23. Sorry, I did like Jermaine Johnson one. Sorry, I forgot about that. If I really had to narrow it down to one, at the end of the day, it's got to be. Sorry, Graham. It's got to be the Trayvon Walker pick.
How dare you?
I don't think the Lions can afford to miss at 2, and I think there is a higher floor and a higher ceiling for Kayvon Thibodeau.
No.
I don't want to even hear the argument because I'm not going to be swayed by any opinion. So there's no point of us having the argument.
Close-minded.
So I'm just telling you, it's not going to change my opinion. I've watched enough film on both guys to have my opinions, and I think Kayvon Thibodeau is the highest ceiling edge player, maybe the highest ceiling player in the draft class.
So Chase, is this you saying you don't like either of the Lions picks?
Yes.
Wow.
I would be livid after day one if this was their draft. Livid.
I would be.
Let's hope not.
I would be upset because I was not happy with the Jahan Dotson pick either, but. All the guys I wanted were gone.
You can't just reach for talent, Graham. Just at that point, maybe just go punter or something fun.
You should have tried to trade with one of us.
Matt Arazio is still available.
That's true.
Honestly, if I were the Lions, I would not mind trading that pick away. But at the same time, I don't know what kind of value you'd be able to get.
If it fell that way and you found a team that wanted to trade up to get the 5th-year option on a quarterback, 100% trade that pick away.
Someone would go for Pickett. Pickett at 32.
Yeah, if Kenny Pickett's still there at 32, someone would, but he's not going to be.
No.
Yeah.
All right, well, the draft is only a couple days away. I can't wait to sit down, eat some buffalo chicken dip.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And watch that all together. It's going to be a lot of fun. We can look back on our mock and see if we were right, if we were wrong. Probably very wrong.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a lot of fun. And then after this episode of WNP, we do have one more coming out before the actual draft. That is our My Guys episode. You guys won't be joining us, but I'll let you briefly, if any of you guys are super big fans of any players in this draft, if you have a My Guy, I'll let you do a little mention real quick.
Well, clearly it's Jahan Dotson for Graham.
It's not.
If not, that's completely fine.
I don't know. I feel like this is not. It's not really a My Guy because he's drafted so early, but I love Trayvon Walker, and that is the guy that I want at 2. If Aiden Hutchinson's not there, I want Trayvon Walker for sure. He's like by far and away the next guy, and he's not that far from Aiden Hutchinson for me.
I'm so happy you're not making the decision for the Lions.
I think that they might take him.
I really
think they might take him.
I firmly believe they will not.
I don't know.
I have a couple guys I really like in this draft, but I'll just say Malik Willis. I'm super excited to see whatever happens to him. I love all the traits. I like the kid. I'm really excited to see where he goes. And then the aforementioned David Ojabo we were talking about earlier. I loved watching him play in Michigan, and I was so sad when he got hurt. It's just so I really hope he goes first round, and I know he's going to be great. I think he's going to recover quick. The modern medicine has really, so I'm excited for him.
Awesome.
I do have one. I do have one that's not top 3 on the board, and that's Daxton Hill. I really like Daxton Hill out of Michigan. I really, really want him to fall in the Lions to be able to take him, pair him up with Tracy Walker. That's an insane safety duo.
I just got to say on the Locker Room podcast, I'm not going to spoil his take. You need to go check it out. But Landon had an interesting take on Dax Hill that I can't get quite behind, but I am a fan of Dax Hill.
He also had an interesting take about Kenny Pickett.
Yes.
Did he say something like Daxton Hill could be the best safety in the league or something like that?
I'm not spoiling anything. You have to go and watch.
Everyone go watch the Locker Room podcast.
But he did have some interesting takes that I will call interesting.
Daxton Hill's my guy.
There we go. It was a fun show. Thanks so much for coming on, guys. If any of you lovely viewers would like to stay up to date with all that we do, you can follow us on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. That's again on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. We also have a TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. All 4 of those links will be down in the description for you. If you are listening on YouTube, if you could, please give us a like, comment, subscribe. We would really appreciate that. Make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. What was your favorite pick? What was your least favorite pick in this mock draft? We'd love to hear down in the comments. If you are listening on a podcast platform, if you could, please give us a 5-star rating and a follow. We would really appreciate that. Thanks so much for coming out. And as always, we're not professionals.